Imagine being one of history's most influential thinkers, someone whose writings on ethics, law, and rhetoric not only shaped ancient Rome, but also laid the intellectual foundations of the Renaissance and modern Western civilization. This is the legacy of Marcus Tullius Cicero, a man often remembered more for his political career than for his profound philosophical contributions. Yet, Cicero's works have endured for over 2 millennia, significantly influencing the development of Western thought. From his reflections on justice and moral duty to his brilliant rhetorical strategies, Cicero's ideas laid the groundwork for much of what we now consider the bedrock of modern philosophy and governance. Let's explore how Cicero's intellectual contributions transcended his turbulent political life and solidified his place as one of the great minds of Western civilization. Cicero's philosophical works are remarkable because they blend the Stoic and academic traditions of Greek philosophy with a distinctly Roman pragmatism. Cicero believed that philosophy wasn't just a theoretical exercise, it was a practical guide to living a virtuous and meaningful life, especially for those engaged in public service. His most influential work, the Officiis on duties, is a treatise on ethics that has been hailed as one of the most important philosophical texts in the Western tradition. In this work, Cicero explores the concept of officium, moral duty, and argues that individuals have a responsibility to act virtuously, not just for personal gain, but for the common good. His ideas about justice, honesty, and duty resonated throughout the Renaissance and beyond, influencing thinkers like Thomas Aquinas and even the framers of the US Constitution. Cicero also believed that philosophy should be applied to real-life situations. His writings emphasize the importance of moral decision-making in public life, making his work highly relevant to statesmen and leaders throughout history. Cicero's blend of Stoicism, which focused on virtue and rationality, with Roman practicality, made his philosophical approach both accessible and actionable. As a lawyer, statesman, and philosopher, Cicero helped shape the Roman legal system. But his ideas on justice and natural law had a far-reaching impact, extending well beyond his lifetime. Cicero was one of the first Roman thinkers to articulate the concept of natural law, a belief that there are universal moral principles that govern human behavior, independent of the laws of any particular society. In his work, De Legibus, on the laws, Cicero argues that justice is rooted in nature and that true law is based on reason. This idea of natural law would later be central to Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke, who used Cicero's concepts to argue for individual rights and liberties, influencing the founding principles of modern democratic societies. Cicero believed that law was not just a set of rules, but the very foundation of a civilized society. He argued that laws must reflect moral principles and that leaders have a responsibility to uphold justice for the good of the people. His belief in the importance of law and justice laid the groundwork for Western legal traditions, particularly in the areas of individual rights and the rule of law. But Cicero was not only a philosopher and statesman, he was also a master of rhetoric, arguably the greatest orator Rome had ever known. His understanding of rhetoric went beyond mere persuasion. It encompassed the clear and effective communication of complex ideas. Cicero's writings on rhetoric have influenced generations of thinkers, from Renaissance humanists to modern public speakers. Cicero's De Oratore, on the orator, is a seminal work on the art of rhetoric, where he outlines the qualities of an effective speaker. For Cicero, rhetoric was not merely a tool for winning debates. It was a means of advancing truth and justice. His emphasis on using eloquence to defend the common good made him a model for both political leaders and philosophers in later centuries. During the Renaissance, Cicero's works on rhetoric were rediscovered by scholars who were inspired by his blending of philosophical ideas with the art of communication. His influence is evident in the writings of Renaissance humanists like Erasmus and Petrarch, who saw rhetoric as essential to civic life and the pursuit of knowledge. Cicero's ability to synthesize philosophical arguments with persuasive communication continues to serve as a model for presenting complex ideas in a compelling and accessible way. While Cicero's political career may have ended in failure, his intellectual legacy was revived during the Renaissance. Humanist scholars of the 14th and 15th centuries rediscovered Cicero's works, finding in them a wealth of wisdom about ethics, governance, and the art of communication. Cicero became a central figure in the humanist movement, which sought to revive the values of classical antiquity and apply them to contemporary life. Renaissance thinkers viewed Cicero as the ideal model of the civic humanist, someone who combined intellectual pursuits with public service. His writings on ethics, law, and rhetoric became essential texts for scholars and statesmen alike. Cicero's emphasis on duty, moral integrity, and the importance of eloquence resonated with Renaissance ideals, shaping the intellectual currents of the time. Cicero's influence extended well beyond the Renaissance. In the 18th century, his ideas about natural law, justice, and the role of government deeply influenced the founding fathers of the United States. Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and James Madison all drew on Cicero's works when formulating the principles of the American Constitution. His belief in the rule of law and that government exists to serve the people became central tenets of modern democratic governance. As much as Cicero's intellectual contributions shaped the development of Western thought, his political career often overshadowed his philosophical achievements. Cicero was deeply involved in the turbulent politics of the late Roman Republic, and his attempts to defend the Republic from figures like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony ultimately led to his downfall. Cicero's political career was marked by his fierce opposition to Caesar's rise to power and his eventual execution during the proscriptions of the Second Triumvirate. While Cicero saw himself as a defender of the Republic, his political maneuvering and miscalculations have often led historians to focus more on his political failures than on his philosophical legacy. Despite the political turmoil that defined his life, Cicero's intellectual contributions have endured. His works on ethics, law, and rhetoric continue to be studied and revered, reminding us that while politics may be fleeting, ideas have the power to shape civilizations for centuries. Cicero's ability to transcend his political struggles and leave a lasting mark on philosophy and law is a testament to the enduring power of thought. Cicero's philosophical legacy is one of the most profound in Western history. His writings on ethics, law, and rhetoric laid the foundations for much of the intellectual tradition that followed, from the Renaissance to modern democratic thought. While his political career may have been overshadowed by the brutal realities of Roman power struggles, Cicero's ideas have proven to be far more enduring. In celebrating Cicero's intellectual contributions, we are reminded that even in the face of political failure, great ideas have the power to transcend time and shape the future. Cicero's belief in justice, moral duty, and the power of eloquence continues to influence how we think about ethics, law, and leadership today. His life serves as a powerful example of how the pen, indeed the mind, can be mightier than the sword. If you found this exploration of Cicero's intellectual contributions fascinating, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more insightful content. Join the discussion in the comments below about how Cicero's ideas resonate with contemporary thought. Let's keep the conversation alive as we dive deeper into the ideas that have shaped our world.